Welcome to a ranking of races. So in this series, we're going to be looking at every racing game. We've got a list of over 100 racing games so far, and we're going to rank them. So each episode, we're going to take a look at 2 racing games and see where it goes on the list. So this is the first episode. So we're looking at Need for Speed Carbon, the Wii version, and Beach Buggy Racing. We'll be playing the Switch version. So we're going to do Need for Speed Carbon first. We'll play a couple of races, talk about it, decide where it's going on the list. Obviously this is the first episode, so it's going at the top of the list for now, and then we'll do Beach Buggy Racing and decide where that goes. Right, let's check out Need for Speed Carbon. Now there's lots of options in Need for Speed Carbon for control options. We're going with this straight up using the Wii remote normally. There's some very strange ones where you use the Wii remote as acceleration and steer by tilting the nunchuck. So in this series, you just need to decide on like how good gameplay is, how well it is, what the track's like. So basically, what makes it like a good racer. Okay, so we'll start with Need for Speed Carbon here. So obviously, this has real licensed cars. You got nitrous, but I've got no nitrous in this car because we're just doing quick race. There is this weird thing called overtime or something, or oversteer, and you can go into like a slow motion thing. And you can have crew members helping you as well. So this reminds me a lot of like Need for Speed Underground series. A lot of nighttime races. Obviously the graphics for this Wii game don't hold up the best. It's still playable. It's just a little bit jaggy. We're playing this through a Wii U as well, just so we can capture the footage. I like the idea of like having a crew member helping, and they all have different abilities. Some might find shortcuts, some might try and help stop the police. Handling fairly good actually with this Wii remote. It isn't quite as much control as you would like, say, in another racing game with, say, like normal controls. But there are these as well. You can knock down things. I remember that was a big deal in Need for Speed. That's kind of disappeared over time. And I quite like the town set in a carbon. I think the map is a little bit small, a non-off variation, but yeah, this one holds up pretty well. We'll have a look at a few of the different races and see if we can find some different settings. And like with this whole series, if you've got a particular which game you think in the episode should be where on the list, just let me know as well. So there are some other versions of Need for Speed Carbon, and we might check those out at a later date. I've literally chosen these random from my list as well. So I've got everything from brand new racing games to really old racing games. So okay. We need to get in the nitty gritty science of what makes a good racing game. Now there'll be some racing sims, some arcade sims, so we're just gonna have to judge it by how good we think the racing game is, how fun it is. It's a factor to like how good it is, but it also needs to be entertaining as well. But Need for Speed Carbon is obviously off to a good start. But I think this is a fairly good racing game. Need for Speed series has its ups and downs, but this is not one of its downs. Maybe it's missing some features that was in previous ones, but I think that feels good. Okay, let's check out one of the other races, so we can see what it's like. So, your crew member one, okay. So like I said, mainly we'll just try and go straight into racing for ranking of races. Okay, let's do, that was a circuit, let's see. That's a checkpoint, we want to do this. Let's do a sprint, but let's find a different location. I was hoping to be somewhere on top of the map. Here we go, oh I don't know what these are. Oh, this one's in a canyon, okay. Yeah, let's try one of these. So that was the thing about, also this is another thing to note, there's actually an option for catch up, no catch up. So when we talk about rubber banding, this game seems to have got it covered in a strange way, like chooses. Obviously it's automatic manual, our preference is automatic, so we'll be looking mainly at automatic. So what I remember in Carbon, this had quite a few like mountain based levels, especially when it came to the drift mode as well. So let's have a look. This is our first episode, so once we get the swing of ranking races, we'll be able to get more polish, hopefully have some guests on. So this is a little bit different. I think this is just on the Wii version. Actually shows you like how you're holding the steering wheel, like if you were in the car. I don't know if there's a choice of views on... Oh, that's the reset. Ah. No. How do we go back there? Well, there's no choice of cameras on this version. It's all part of the sound, so we've got to check out what it is. It might be in some of the other control options. So yeah, I quite enjoyed the mountain racing ones. Now, drifting, that's another part of things. Let's see if we can try and drift. If we don't win every race, it's not the aim. We're just here to test the science to see where these racing games should come on. No, not really. Yeah, it's not particularly great for drifting with this control method. Oh, okay, drifting, not so good, okay? It's not going high on my drifting, because I'm quite a fan of games that can drift well. You might see some other races where we are, unfortunately we haven't done any other races yet, so we're not really ready to compare yet. It's a bit hard to compare something when we've not tested the other games with the science of ranking of races. Still feels good. Some of these cars are a little bit more, very quite grippy. Environment wise, it's kind of just like, you know, your one city type look to it. Right, let's see if there's a different race, and then we'll move on to beach buggy racing. Because the first episode, we're not quite sure how long we should make each game last. If you've got a preference, like how long you'd like to see a game, I think we just need to see enough to know and get the feel of it again. Because I have played all these on my list. Here's a drift event. Let's check it out. What car looks like it'd be good for drifting? Are these good for drifting? No, let's give it a try. And I'll show you the controls options now. As soon as it's loaded, I'll show you what the controls are. There we go. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I think I played drift. I've played this game for loads. Okay, let's see what we can see. Well, I'll show you the control options now because it's most unusual. I think it's gone to a different view already for drifting. Right, so in options you can see... No, that's not there. Yeah, controls. So this is the version we're using. And there's a handbrake down. There's no like drift. A's for oversteer. There's no like generic drift. Now there's a change view. It's B and left. But we won't do that now. Okay, and see these are different ones. This one I meant about the nunchuck left and right and the control up and down for the accelerator. This one's nunchuck left and right but the control like in a 90-degree position. This one you can get to steer with the control stick, but you also move your wheel remote up and down. And the nunchuck to use e-brake. I tried that, usually end up putting the handbrake on by mistake. And this used control stick to steer, but still the accelerator, I just wish there was like hold A. Why when someone made these controls didn't think for standard controls? Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can see these different camera options as well. Oh. Okay, here we go. Yep, we've got our bonnet view, car there, that's our drift view. Oh, okay. So it feels like it gets a little bit more drifty in drift mode. Okay, I remember now, you've got to be careful these yellow barriers. Oh! Okay, we'll give that one more try. And the other problem you'll find with the Wii remote is that you have to keep turning it vertically. So like this you race, but to do the menus you go up like this. Okay, the drift mode's coming back to me. I think, yeah, this is like a good mode, a good option. I think once you get used to the Wii remote controls, it's quite good. It's a little bit slippery. And I think because you can't quite make small changes like you could with a control stick, you really do lose something a little bit. Okay, let's see if we can get it working. Okay, it's coming along alright. We're getting the hang of this now. Okay, I could see the appeal here. Drifting is a little bit off, so we need to remember when we cover other games of drifting that drifting wasn't the best, but it's not the worst. Oh, come on. Also, this is an interesting series because considering I love racing games, it's always interesting to go back to race games I've never played loads of. But obviously when you've played a lot of different games, you realise something's a bit harder to come back to. So this is an interesting retrospect look at how these games were and how well they hold up. Oh, come on. Okay, we're doing alright here. So when we come to look at like the other version, I think it's on the Xbox 360 as well, we'll be able to tell. I'm curious to see graphically and by the controls how different it is. So some of the, we've got a lot of the racing games on our list in our collection, but there's a few we need to purchase later on as well, so I'm going to be adding those to a list to get. But this is going to be a long series because obviously we've got over 100 games on our list, so we'll do 2 games an episode. But any requests to see any particular games, let me know as well in the comments below. This is tricky. Okay. Oh, ooh, that was a good drift there. Okay, that's going to give us a good score there. I don't want to suddenly lose it though, that's the problem. Now, I don't remember there being daytime sections in this game. I think it is just all nighttime from what I've seen. Because there hasn't been any options in the races. Right, let's get up our list of current rankings. So at the moment we haven't got anything, but I'll bring up the special list. So obviously, first thing that's going on our list is need for speed, carbon, and I'm going to put the name of the system it's on as well afterwards in brackets. And it should appear on screen now. There you go. So that's that current list. Need for speed, carbon, Wii. We'll be back in 1 second as we transition to our next game. And we're back. So our next game in this episode of Ranking Races is Beach Buggy Racing for the Switch. We're using the Pro Control. I'll show the options for the controls of this. Pretty easy. There is an auto accelerator as well, but we don't want that. So pretty simple. And there's power-ups in this, because it's a bit like a kart racer. So we're going to just check it out. There's a bunch of different karts. I remember in Korea you can customize your driver, you can change a car. There's like a variation of different type style cars. They're all like obviously miniaturized versions, but there's a bit of a selection going on here. But we're going to jump into a championship, and we'll go for the Rally Pro Championship here, and this will just give us a bit of a selection of different levels. Obviously there's a choice of characters. Let's be Disco Jimmy, because why not? Here we go. So this is a download game on the Switch. Okay, let's see. Let's get to the science of this race. Let's see what it's all about. Okay, well, it's obviously a lot closer up. Whoop. Okay, we've got items. Now, it does have this weird camera wobble, and I've played a lot of this game. Maybe I just got used to it. So I'm not quite sure why it's got such a wobble to it, but It's got a mixture of power-ups here, stuff to slow them down, stuff to shoot at. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, so we've got nitrous we can use as a pickup. It's a little bit floaty. Oh, I don't know what happened there. It's quite wacky, but some of these power-ups really, well, do mess with you. Just got frozen there. So that's one thing to take into consideration. Because it's an item-based racing game, it will really throw things. And the drifting isn't great either. Oh, crikey, I flew my car then. I feel like it was a little bit sharp every time I've tried to drift. It either doesn't drift or not. Right, let's see what we've got next. It's a little bit fluffy, but it's nice and colourful, as you can see. Now, it's a download game, and I think it's based off a mobile port, so visually, considering it's a Switch game, it's not the best. But it does have interesting characters and colourfulness going for it. Yeah, that drifting is not good. Okay. And I'm not as keen on the sway. Although I think you will get used to it, but that might affect how I feel about it. I do like the diversity of items and characters, and it does have that fun factor of picking up and play. But when you take into consideration like how much time would you want to play it and invest into it. So this is where the science is going to get tricky. Like, I'm already torn between both of today's games. Hopefully sometimes we might have easier choices. Obviously something might be not as good and something might be really good. Okay, and this has got more jumps to it. If that's what you want from a racing game. Okay, let's get to science here. Right. See what other power-ups we got. That's obviously a springboard for someone. This guy's car is huge. Whoa. Oh, no, that's not very good. Whoa. Okay, destructible environments. That's a plus. But what can you crash into? That's the thing. If I crash into a tree, is it gonna go through the tree, or am I gonna bounce off it? We might have to test that out on the next level. Okay, if there's a tree on the next level, we'll test it out. That's something else to think about, because some games you drive in a lamppost. Sometimes you go through the lamppost, sometimes you don't. I didn't notice in Need for Speed Carbon there were items you could go through, but they were clearly marked. So let's see in here if we can find a normal tree. We'll have to see. Okay, oh, we've got an interest in driving on this log here. We've got some water effects. Okay. Plus, being on a HD platform does help it make sure that the picture is sharp. But, like, I don't mind going back to old games, so it's more about how well I think it holds up and how good the art direction is more than graphics per se. Well, graphics does play a part into it. Okay. But it's kind of about like how much would you want to play it now as well. That's the important thing in ranking races. Something's still got to hold up, otherwise you can't say it's the best race ever. It's not something you still want to play. Let's see if we can drive in this mushroom. Okay, good, yeah. Oh Jesus, how heavy is this thing? We're up. Okay, disco ball. So I think the different cars, it kind of feels the same. We'll try a different car after this championship, because that's part of the science. Need for Speed did have cars that felt different. we'll have to choose it. I'm curious to choose a car that's very different to this, see how it feels. Level variation is good in this though. Doesn't make it a better racing game though. That's the thing, and I'm not thought about this beforehand because I've literally just chosen the 2 races before the episode because I wanted a more authentic discussion and thinking about. Okay, nice level. I'm torn because I like car races, but I do like the realistic races. I do like Need for Speed, so I can't put different environments. I think for Need for Speed, just having the levels at nighttime, but that's kind of like its own genre, nighttime racing. Kind of wish I chose 2 easier races. Right, okay. There's a lot more in Need for Speed Carbon. I think event-wise, the different types of races than say that's in this. I mean, the problem is this isn't easy to pick up like enjoyable kart racer, but doesn't have like the depth or quite the polish of say some other kart races. So I'm not gonna make a decision till the end. Okay. We're not taking music into factor because lots of racing games have licensed tracks that we can't play on YouTube, so we're gonna have to not take that into consideration. But other sounds, this is going more for easy cartoony sounds. It's got like some generic jams. There's nothing particularly too catchy. Oh, we've got a disco ball. So you can hold 2 items. Items do add to the fun factor. Need for Speed did have that weird slow motion thing. That was kind of cool to pull off some shortcuts and hit the scenery. Oh, I don't think destroying the scenery stuff has held up as much because it's very like it's deliberately in place in places. But deliberately in places? That was a funny sentence. But right, let's have a look. What is a different style car? Let's do a quick race. We'll go for 500cc, see how much faster that is. Ooh, look at all these places. Okay, there's a lot here. I don't know how you get that. Let's look at a red planet. Let's go for a very different. Oh, it's very different from the main buggy. I feel like a monster truck would handle differently. Yeah, see. You gotta level up before you get these. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna have to try. Yeah, we can't try a different car. We're sure we've got different cars. Let's have a look in the career, because I'm sure I've chosen switch car. Yeah, I've got different cars here. Let's try this one. Choose series. We'll just go back to an older series just to show off. Here. We'll just do this one quickly, just so we get a feel of the car, and then we'll pause and we'll stop to think about where they should be. Okay, let's see how much this different mile. This is very big on the screen. This is the problem as well, because everything is very big on the screen. It does kind of block the view a little bit. Okay, yeah, this does feel heavier. Okay, so we have got variation in vehicles here. Okay. Right, that is heavier. Right, so let's pause it there. Oh, it's gonna keep playing that music, isn't it? Right, so got the hard decision now. And you guys can let me know in the comments for yours. Maybe I'll make a community ranking list. I've got it on my Google Docs and Google Sheets of all these games and the order it's going to be, so it's going to be interesting. Let's bring up our current rankings. Oh, it's a little bit hard to see on that background. Hopefully you can see that there. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to add a background color to. There we go, and it's nice and easy to see. So we've got Need for Speed Carbon currently in first. Does Beach Buggy Racing make it better? It has got the colours. It's kind of like a fun to pick up to play, but it might be lacking the depth. I feel like you could really get your teeth into Need for Speed Carbon as a racing game. Now we're here to talk about racing games and not... I feel like you would pick this up for fun to play if you had short time, but if you were sitting down, if you were like, I'm after something to sink my teeth in, or what you think, like, don't get me wrong, there's some kart races here that I already know on my list that could be quite hard because they're really good, but there's a lot more to it. Do you mean they have to be quite well balanced and quite full of features? Need for Speed Carbon does have good choice of cars. We've got based real cars. I think having the mountain drifting and the mountain tracks, there's the cop chases, obviously we've got career and quick race. There's a career mode, so I think there's more variation there. And it does hold up alright actually with doing it. Like, I'd be willing to go back and play some more of that. This game, Beach Buggy Racing, maybe I've already had my fill. It's fun, but there's some other kart races I'd rather go to. So, so tricky. I think I'm going to have to stick with Need for Speed Carbon at the top of the list for now. I'm going to add Beach Buggy Racing. But obviously if you think you disagree, let me know in the comments, because to be honest, I was torn. I'm still torn now as I'm writing out Beach Buggy Racing. So that should appear on screen now. There you go. So that's our current rankings of ranking races for the very first episode. We've got Need for Speed Carbon Wii in first place and Beach Buggy Racing for the Switch in second place. So let me know which one you thought was better, and then join us next time, because we'll have 2 more racing games to choose, but we'll be adding them to this list. So then we'll have 4 to choose on. We're going to keep adding on each week, and you can imagine by the time we've got to like maybe 20 games, it's going to be tricky. And I told you before, there's 100 games already on the list, and I'll keep adding to that list. Anytime someone goes, there's a racing game out there you've not tried or played, I'm going to add it to the list and try and get it. Okay, so thank you very much for joining. Remember to like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments below which of these 2 races that you would have chosen to be in which order. And yep, click the bell for all new videos. Thank you very much. We appreciate all the support. And join us next time on Ranking of Racers.